Good day to members of Parliament and senators under Youth Impact Parliament. We are glad to have you all here for today's post-inaugural orientation. Let's start with prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament. Grant us the vision that we might lead this House and orient them into what to do. As we start this orientation, we call for your insight and understanding and teachings that your members shall be truly detailed in giving the information they seek in order to properly function in office. So, honorable members and senators, today's orientation is a joint orientation because after the Senate was inaugurated in March, they haven't sat again. They only had a pre-inaugural orientation. So we are having their post-inaugural orientation joint with the orientation of the Parliament. Last month, the fourth Parliament applicants had a pre-inaugural orientation, and today as well, we are having their post-inaugural orientation. The relevance of the post-inaugural orientation is basically to inform you of what is expected of you and what you need to know in order to do your job. And for the purposes of today's orientation, we'll be having 3 speakers to do presentation for us. We're having the first person, who is in the person of Amanor D. Narh. He is the Deputy Executive Director of Youth Impact Movement in charge of Parliamentary Affairs. He oversees the 4 chapters of Youth Impact Parliament, and he will be introducing to us the structures of Youth Impact Movement, Youth Impact Foundation, Youth Impact Parliament, the YIP Club, the Ghana chapter, the India chapter, the Uganda chapter, and the Namibia chapter. He will also talk and introduce to you our bicameral legislature, the first of its kind youth bicameral legislature of having 2 chambers. They will tell you about what the Senate is and what the Parliament is and the structures in them. He just give you an introduction for you to know and have a basic understanding. So he's going to lay the foundation for the next speaker. The speaker will be the Right Honorable Adam Usman, who is the Speaker of the 4th Parliament. He is going to running this group. He will share his experience as well. That is how he's going to climax his presentation. Then the Speaker of Parliament will also come, and he talk about leadership, values, and ethics. He will share his insights on leadership, values, and ethics. And he also climaxed his presentation with duties of senators and youth MPs. He will speak on the duties of what is expected of youth MPs and then senators under Youth Impact Parliament and any other thing that he will add. Then I, Jones Amegashie-Viglo, the President of the Senate, will be the presenter, your 3rd speaker, and I will speak on the standing orders of Parliament, the standing orders of Parliament. We have 2 standing orders since we are 2 houses, so I'll speak on the standing orders of the lower chamber, which is the Parliament. I'll also speak on the standing orders of the upper chamber. The standing orders are very similar. The major differences are the terminologies between the 2. Clause to clause, it is the same. So just speaking on the standing orders of the Parliament, there is little to talk about when we reach the Senate. It's just the structural differences that we'll talk about. And right after that, I'll climax my presentation with the Constitution of YIM. And right after that, we'll take questions and answers. We need each of you to, during each person's presentations, be writing your questions down. Or if you don't want to forget, you can post your questions in the call, the in-call message. You can post your questions there so that we will take notice of it. And then if you want your question addressed in the presentation, then you put it there. And as well, it can also be addressed because right after the two presentations, then we'll have a question and answer session where you can ask your verbal questions. Yes, so right after the verbal questions are also answered, then closing remarks will be given, and then we'll take our prayer, and that will bring us to the end of the post-inaugural orientation. So, ladies and gentlemen, not to waste my time, please allow me to introduce the first speaker to make the first and maiden orientation in our post-inaugural orientation for YIP Senators and Youth. The Deputy Executive Director of Youth Impact Movement in charge of Parliamentary Affairs, the Honorable Amanor D. Welcome, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm sure you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Okay. So let's move for this opportunity has rightly stated for the inaugural orientation, and I'll just be building on what we have done in the pre-inaugural orientation last month. So my discussion basically will be I'll be building on what we discussed earlier, especially to the presentation I made last month during the pre-inaugural orientation. Now, to start with, on youth impact movement, youth impact parliament foundation. So I'll begin with youth movement. As we all may be aware, the youth impact movement is the mother umbrella to which so I recall during the inauguration when I was presenting my statement on impact that I made mention the youth impact parliament started in somewhere April 2021. So the idea to establish a youth parliament to later talent in public speaking and parliamentary proceedings had led to the formation of the Mother Union. So the youth impact parliament led to the formation of the Mother Union, the Youth Impact Movement. So we all belong to the Youth Impact Movement. Under the Youth Impact Movement, Youth Impact Foundation, fortunately for all of us, majority of us on this call are members of the Youth Impact Parliament. So the Youth Impact Found the Youth Impact come below the Youth Impact Foundation. Now the Parliament basically is what you all know about. So the Parliament has given we have the Indian chapter, we have the Nigerian chapter, and then the Uganda. We are praying that by of this year, plan away at a new chapter in Uganda, in Nigeria, our to majority Anglophone countries in Africa and beyond. The Youth Parliament head the Youth Impact Parliament led by me, Deputy Executive Director in charge of Parliamentary Affairs. So the Youth Impact Movement Union has board of directors today running of the entire movement. So we have Honorable Jones Amegashie-Viglo, the executive director. Myself, Honorable Amanor D, executive director in charge of party affairs. I have my good brother, Honorable Welcome, who is the deputy in charge of what's the name? Human aid or human. So it is important that you have to note because all belongs to the Youth Impact Movement, a day will come where we will call on them as parliament, them, and then we can equally call on them to help us. So now, what is our foundation like? Let me speak on the foundation. For a lot of foundations have and core mandate that they tend to with our foundation, it is a unique kind of a foundation. Most foundations have to reach out to less privileged. We are equally reaching out to less privileged in a unique way. What is this unique way? Our reaching out to less foundation is to nature talent. So the Youth Impact Foundation, ours is to nature talent. So it is unfortunate that since the inception of the Youth Impact Foundation, we have not had any uh, significant program that we have run, but plans are underway. The Deputy Executive Director in charge of humanitarian affairs, Honorable Eleke Magbo, because sometimes because of his busy schedule, so but plans are underway. We want to reach out to the high schools because there's a saying that catch them young and they shall be yours forever. So we are using this in this particular context. We want to catch them young because I believe that if we are the future leaders, then it means we must begin doing things that will be able to elevate us for the future. So with the youth impact movement, that is basically what we do. And again, because that has been our main focus to nurture talent as far as the foundation is concerned, reaching out to the less privileged as far as talent, public speaking, nurturing and fostering good governance is concerned. That is the core mandate of the foundation. Notwithstanding that, the foundation equally finds a way to partner other foundations for their activities. So some of our key partners in as far as the Youth Impact Foundation is concerned, we have the Osborne Foundation. The Osborne Foundation is basically a foundation that reaches out to single parents, like single mothers that are struggling to make ends meet. Another one is the Sisterhood Ghana. So we've partnered these, how do I call it, these two foundations in time past for activities. So don't misquote me when I made mention earlier that we have not had any significant program as far as the activities of the foundation is concerned. And I'm saying this currently. What I meant earlier is that the Youth Impact Foundation itself as a whole had not held a separate activity on its own in time past. So what I'm saying currently about we are partnered other foundations to in the Youth Impact movement, the foundation. God being so good, the what's the name? The bicameral letter adding the Senate in March, and this is the first time the Youth Parliament is having a double chamber, and that is supposed to is ought to be commended. We are making things in a way that will stand tall. And the other time, and I was telling him that nobody said too much of what will become of us in the future. What will become of us in the future in God's hands. I put down whatever we need. And what and we flow, we a national sensation. People will travel to time back. Oh yes, truly have been there for now. I don't know whether you know of the there's this foundation on back boys. Their activity is basically fishing, reading by the roadside, clearing gutters and the like. A lot of people probably have been might them through TikTok and the like. But if started when you go to their TikTok page and long, when they came into the limelight, it looked beautiful. And they ought to have a lot of people as far as concerned. So, youth impact movement has two branches. Two branches are the Youth Impact Parliament and the Youth Impact Foundation. It's headed by Honorable Johnson Amegashie-Viglo. So that is our voice. He heads the foundation. I'm in charge of the parliamentary business. So the right in Uganda, the government in Namibia, and then the parliament in India are under my control. The foundation is run by Honorable, what's the name? Honorable Reverend Mago, and I'm sure with time, those of you who are around will get to meet him. He for immigration. That's why he was not able to make it. But I'm sure those who will be around will get to know him. Now, to proceed, with the discussion for today. Youth, to talk about the bicameral legislature, which is the Senate. So if you could do the pre I was speaking about uh, those who were on the call that if you could recall, you have different kinds of parliament, and today we spoke about what is known to everybody, which is the natural parliament. We are talking about the summer legislature today, which is the Senate. It's an upper chamber. It's an upper chamber. An upper chamber is a chamber made up of less. It depends on the structure, but they are no more the members of parliament. Basically, do is that they found as in the lower parliament. So American has the Senate and have the parliament. And I'll be drawing some dots. So I would like you to follow. The Senate powers are more than that parliament. It's bicameral legislature. So if you watch, we don't run the bicameral legislature. But in a way, when you look at the Council of State, they run the Senate. So there is a wide, the Council of State should be collapsed and converted into a Senate. Senate, Senate the Council recommends and the President appointees and key decisions ought to make. Whilst Parliament becomes the highest decision-making body. So, me, Amanor D, as Energy Minister, if President as elected commissioner, if the President wants to appoint IG, the President ought to with the Council of State. Once the Council of State agrees, President presents the said person to Parliament for approval because that's the representative seat. In the Senate, in the opposite way. Parliament takes decision. Senate also takes their decision. Both of them run concurrently. Way Parliament decisions and Senate decisions that does not the only conflict is when the triggering situations that ought where exercise its powers that have been given to it. Now, let me give you an example. In 2019, I could record a date. In 2019, I'm sure those who follow American policies very well. Impeachment. So, true. It went to the House of Representatives, which is in Ghana we call it our parliament. The parliament voted to impeach Trump. Are you with me? The parliament voted to impeach Trump. Now, American law, I can't say, but I know his removal from office ought to go to Senate. So now it is over here. The House of Representatives can impeach. So most of the times, people just feel like impeachment, removal of office. Impeachment does not mean impeachment and removal are two different. So impeachment basically the House is endorsing that yes, truly, what you have been accused. So it will be recorded as. So let's say, for example, today Amanor D done something bad. I've been taken to Parliament for all these processes to go through. Parliament will vote that yes, upon the investigations, the evidences available. Yes, truly, Amanor has done this, and it will be recorded against my name. Now, to remove me from office, Parliament don't have that power. But in Ghana, I don't know what Ghana's structures are. I have to go back and visit the Ghanaian constitution and re-look at it again. Because we have the upper chamber, the side on what's the name on the state of whether to remove Trump or to remove Trump. And the vice president of America, I don't know how they've been able to come up with that particular structure. I don't know, but the vice president of the Senate in America. So the Trump's removal went to Senate, they voted, and Trump was acquitted. The removal of Trump from office was trashed out by. So you realize that in this case, Senate became final say. And the funny issue was that Trump had some two appointees of his in his government that went to testify against him. And he fired them. That very night they acquitted him. He fired them from the office. He said, Munkofi, you people can't come and be playing what's the name? Susupon on me. So basically that's how the works. In our case, we want to run the bicameral legislature, and because we don't take key decisions that affect anybody, we are running the bicameral legislature. How the Senate was so future where the Ghanaian governance people reason and it comes up with an upper chamber, which will be called the Senate. And with the Senate, so listen to how the Senate structure is. With it is not the people's representative. So in Ghana, if Senate will be in America, every state ought to present two people. Every state in America ought to present two people. So Dekaka will present two people. Volta will present two people. Ashanti will present two people. Let's say Northern will present two people. Not all the so if we are presenting two, by the system regions, we are going to get 32 senators. Nigeria has that same structure. Now, the Senate is what we call the equal representation. Parliament will be the people's representation. What is the difference between the equal representation and the people's representation? In the Senate, the number is equal for all regions or all states. But in the Parliament, depending on the population of that particular region, will determine the number of people who will come from that particular region to Parliament. So currently, Ashanti region has the highest number of seats, to be 47. Volta region has 18. Four or so. I'm not too sure of the number. And the likes, not or so. So with the Parliament, depending on so let's say for example, if development is to be shared according to, or if we want to go by regional caucus, and who will be taking the big share every now and then I think Ashanti region will be getting the big share because they have the highest number of MPs in Parliament. So 47 of them, all of them will move to one side. And when they vote, they will by all means outweigh. But in the Senate, it is 2-2-2-2, equal representation. And with the current structure we have in our Senate, it's the same. So you realize that in our parliament, that 18 seats in Volta region, 6 in OT, 34 in Greater Accra, 47 in Ashanti. Is the people's representation. It's an unequal representation because some regions have more than, but in the Senate, it's equal. So in the future, where Ghana adopts the upper chamber structure, we hope that some of us on this particular call one day will be part of that particular upper chamber, and we pray. And arguments are going on that the Council of States should be collapsed into to form the Senate. Now, let's proceed to speak about the benefit a member will get as far as joining Youth Impact Movement and its two branches. I must say that there are no financial benefits. So if anybody has this in his mind that there are financial, please, you are deceiving yourself. There are a number of benefits that you will get. And I'm a living testimony. Honorable Jones is one. Adam Osman is a one. Agba Hubert is one. And all majority of the members in the parliament can share their testimonies to what they have gotten for. Now, what are some of the benefits? The benefit you are going to get is that you are going to get the recognition that you deserve. Do you know how I'm held in Ningo as far as Youth Impact Parliament is concerned? Now, let me give you an example. 2 days ago, I posted a video where I was presenting the statement of impact on my status. And we have been a youth group in town. And the video was posted, someone took it from my status and posted it there. I had about 30 people posting it on their status. The energy and the joy, because the people are recognizing what you are in for. Let's put that aside. Let's put that aside. Honorable Adam Osman Ashama people will be happy. Agbawode will be happy. Everybody will be happy. Now, as a youth MP, you have the opportunity to pay a courtesy call on your member of parliament. Discuss with him issues of the constituency's benefit from the youth perspective. So I don't think today, Honorable Agbawode Hubert, MP for Akati North, had the opportunity to meet Honorable Peter Nochukote, and they are in contact. I'm sure Honorable Hubert has his contact, and then they do chat from time to time. And I'm sure if there's a highly available opportunity where Honorable Peter Nochukote is to recommend someone for a particular job or a particular contract or a particular opportunity, I'm sure because of the day-to-day interaction between the two of them, Honorable Agbawode Hubert will come to mind. Now, what is another benefit? Now, the core reason for which we established this particular parliament and the movement is to nurture responsible future leaders. Engage in public speaking debates where we will nurture your ability to be able to speak in public without any fear. So, my good friend, Victim Bright Selam, when he came to level 100, very timid kind of a person. Today, when he's making noise and then chastising me, I don't know where he has gotten, but he had gotten that energy from Parliament. So those days when he picked microphone, and I could recall in 2021, in the second Parliament of Whole Technical University, he was nominated for, I forgot the position he was. He was nominated for the second deputy speaker position, and then as usual, Parliament ought to get him on the floor of Parliament. And when he took the microphone, I realized that my good friend was far away in his hometown in Angola. He didn't know exactly how to go about stuff. But the case is not as same today. And I'm sure if the same opportunity is to be presented to my brother today, yes, everybody will be happy and will clap for him because he had the right time opportunity in Youth Impact Parliament to debate. Opportunity has been given to him to speak in public, and that has grown his public speaking confidence. And I'm sure you on this particular call will equally have the said advantage and benefit. Now, what benefit again will you get as far as joining this particular movement? You have the opportunity to learn from people that on a normal day you won't get the opportunity to learn from. I'm not sure we will have the opportunity to on a normal day by saying we want to get Honorable Peter Nochukote or Honorable Kofiato or Honorable Bedra, Honorable Kodo, or Honorable Moyman on a normal day. The stress you are going to go to get people to come and speak to you and share their knowledge and experience with you, I'm sure you are ready to go. But by virtue of the group of which we are under, when we extend the invitation to those people, they come because they see us as people who are preparing themselves to take over from them. So, in order for them to be happy when they are gone, for their good works to be continued, they will gladly come down to come to speak to us. So we had had all these people speaking and I'm not sure any youth parliament in Ghana currently is having the third engagement with these resource personnel as we. We had had one lecturer, Honorable Dr. Harrison Belly. He is a lecturer, political science, I don't know, governance lecturer in the Evangelical Presbyterian University in Hope. And then he spoke to us one time in 2022. That was November thereabout. If not November, then kind of I've forgotten the date, but it was in 2022, late 2022, about how Parliament works. After he was done, for Youth Impact Parliament that particular time, he he had he had he wrote a book and launched it titled How Parliament Works. And after that particular seminar, all through the seminar call that day, like the way we are currently on the call currently with how many people? With one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, five people on the call currently. He donated 11 of his book free of charge to us. I have my copy currently. And when you read the details to how Parliament works, I'm not sure you will get to Ghana's Parliament and then you'll be fumbling because you have already learned. There's a say the popular saying that hard they are going through the hard trading and the easy battle. Now, what benefit again will you get as far as Youth Impact Parliament is concerned? Youth in Parliament had core business, and as part of our value position, we had made it a point to record all our citizens from the pilot stage to where we are floating to. Record all, and we upload them. So at any point in time, you can go back into time, download those videos, watch. You can cut the portion where you have spoken and then have discussed it and post it on your and to build your social media presence. So if you are on the call and you are yet to start building your social media presence as far as you being a youth MP is concerned, please start doing it. Because the day you come to the limelight, people will be wondering, this guy, where from he? And then they say, I know, right now he's getting all these opportunities, but they will not know that when you started, they were sleeping. And the only way for you to be able to prove that, yes, I go back. So please, all the videos have been posted. You can start building your social media presence. In it is going to help you. If you're not going to Parliament, people will watch video and will say, "Wow, this guy is good." Yes, you need people to lead the country one day. Probably not into politics, but in different space altogether. Again, in a, from the inception of the second Parliament, Youth Impact Parliament had made it a point to design flyers for all MPs. So you have a beautiful flyer with your face on it, your name, and your constituency. So I'm sure parliamentary leadership will begin that soon. Equally, Albert Jones has started requesting for birthday flyers. Yes, we equally celebrate our members as far as uh, their well-being. We celebrate them with flyers. So I'm sure you have already to the new members. I'm sure you are already on the pages already. So the benefits are no enormous. Last year, November, we had the opportunity to visit Ghana's parliament. I'm not sure you can work by yourself to have it that easy. You go and be in the public gallery. Nobody will have any, but to have the recognition of for speakers to recognize you, I'm not sure it is that easy. So I'll be ending my presentation as time fast and so that the next speakers too. So basically, this is what Youth Impact Foundation, its movement, parliament is concerned, how the Senate works, and how ours is equally going to look like. And then the benefits you as a member is going to gain from joining this particular group. And I will say that I've been benefiting, and I'm still benefiting, and have benefited from what we have done. And I'm very happy. Self Honorable Jones and Honorable Agbo, we started a team of this nature. So I thank you all for the opportunity, and I thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our Deputy Executive Director. Please, honor members, write your questions and we'll take questions and answers after the third presentation. May I recognize the presence of the Majority Leader of the YIP Senate, Honorable Senator Kelvin Azamiti Mensah. And also to recognize the presence of his brother in the other chamber. We have here Honorable Hubert Adbahode, Majority Leader, Parliament.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
The Speaker.
So, yes, thank you. All the other members will acknowledge you during the question and answers. So, let's move to the next presentation. And that will be done by our fresh in box tier rubber new Speaker of Parliament, who assumed office barely, I think, is it up to a week at all? Just some few days now. He's still wrapped in the rubbers to give us his first online presentation in his new office. May I invite to the floor to speak on leadership values and ethics and duties of senators and youth MPs. Right Honorable Adam Usman, Speaker of the Fourth Parliament of Youth Impact Parliament, Ghana of YIM.
Thank you very much, Excellency Jones. Honorable members, please, the Tiawaba, he said, please ignore it. I'm not a Tiawaba, I'm homeless. If you know, you know. Those in the house, they know I'm homeless, I'm not a Tiawaba. So, honorable members, I'm going to speak about leadership values and ethics. And with this, it's not something new to all of us. It's something that we all do one way or the other. We have heard it, we have been taught several times, and we have seen it. So I'm just coming to remind all of us what leadership values and ethics are. Let's break down the leadership values and ethics. So let's talk about what are values. What are values? When someone says what is or what are values, what will be the response? So values are the underlying belief that guide our decision and actions and ultimately shape our way of doing things. As I said, we are all, it is a reminder because we all know everyone has a value. Everyone. You can't be a human being on this earth and you don't have a value. Then how are you running your life? So leadership values are a subset of the values I talk about, the underlying belief that guide our actions, that positively influence our ability to lead effectively. or our ability to become a good leader. And ethics, according to the American Heritage Dictionary, it defined ethics as a set of principles of right conduct. So as we know this, we can move to what the values and ethics are. We can list them. The first one I want to talk about is integrity. And I know for integrity, it's not the first time you are hearing this word. You see, as for youth MPs, we are all expected to be truthful and transparent in our actions. With this, we'll be able to build trust among our peers, even in our walks of lives. When you are truthful, when you take responsibility of your action, when you acknowledge your mistakes, there's a kind of connection you build with people. You see that people will like to come near you because they know that you don't lie. You are very truthful. They will see you as a saint, like you are trustworthy. That's the word. You're trustworthy. And we all know if a human being is not trustworthy, then how can you deal with such a human being? The second one I want to talk about is we should have empathy. We should be able to put ourselves into other shoes when making decisions. For youth leaders as we are, we have to strive and understand the diverse needs and concerns of our people, that means our peers, to foster inclusivity. We should aim to improve the well-being of others too. When you put yourself into people's shoe, that means you should feel what they are feeling, so that when you are making decisions, you make the best decision out of it. Another thing to talk about is responsibility. For youth MPs and parliamentarians, this is a very difficult task because coming to meetings, preparing for meetings and stuff is one way or the other, because it's one way or the other, let me say, very challenging, because time I'll be using to watch football, I'm here joining this webinar. You see, it's very challenging, but what you get from it, then you weigh the two. You know that, oh, for Chelsea or Madrid match, I can come and watch the highlights, but this is a one-way thing. When I get it, I get it. So for youth senators, you are expected to diligently perform your roles. You should attend meetings. I'll be mentioning the duties of MPs. So you should be responsible. You should be able to uphold and perform your duties diligently. And that is fairness. You should be just and fair. You should be biased, because somebody who is biased is not trustworthy. And because of all of us, we are from diverse backgrounds. There are some people, sorry to say, they have personal biases. Like there are some kind of, they tend to tilt away towards one kind of decision, or let me say ethnicity. So for YIP, I'm happy it is a house which has people from diverse background, irrespective of your religion, place of worship, where you are from. We are all under one umbrella. That's why when you look at the composition of the MPs, it's not only one region. It is different regions that comprises the house. So you should be fair in your decision making. You should forget about You should have overcome your personal biases. You should make decisions based on merit and the common good of the whole entire house. Another one to talk about is collaboration. As mentioned, during the inaugural meeting, will be placed in committees. You have standing committees and the select committees. This is where the collaboration comes in. We want all youth leaders to value teamwork and seek to work collaboratively with others to achieve a common goal. So we'll be sharing all of you committees. And please, I want to urge everyone that you are placed in your committee. Please make best out of it. You should bring your ideas, you bring everything on board to help achieve or to help solve the problem you are given, because you'll be assigned tasks for the committees. So you should be able to work together, build consensus in achieving your tasks. Another one I want to talk about is respect for others. You see, a house that lacks respect is a shaking house. It can collapse anything. So as a youth MP, you are expected to engage in respectful discourse and avoid discriminatory or harmful behavior. When speaking in the floor of the house, consider all the respect. You should put respect for others. It should be number one. Because respect is very key. And when you say something and one honorable member says, "Oh, what you said, it doesn't sit well with me," or "What you said, I'm offended," you should find a nice way of addressing that issue there. Like you should address it there before we all disperse. We don't want a case where people will start throwing hate for each other, and at the end of the day, the house will start going chaos. I don't want that. And as Honorable Amanor said, there are numerous benefits in joining this movement. But I want to state again that it's a continuous learning. Why cannot teach you everything? So as youth leaders, you are encouraged to continuously educate yourselves about political processes, leadership skills. You should be abreast of current issues so that when you come to the floor of parliament, you'll be able to flow with facts. You should be factual in your submissions. And with that, national development will come easy because you are working on yourself. You should seek opportunities for personal and professional growth. This will make you increase your ability to lead effectively. I want to move to the duty of senators and youth MPs. Honorable members, as Honorable Jones said, it's almost the same. It's almost the same. When you look at the standing orders of the YIP, the Youth Impact Parliament, and the standing orders of the Senate, which has the duties of the senators, that it's almost the same. It just changes in ways where we have parliamentary debates, we have senatorial debates. Where parliament is, the change is just senators. So we'll all take one and we'll take standing order 30, which states the duties of MPs. I'm reading it out. I believe most of you have your standing orders. Those that came for the inaugural sitting and they have paid their dues. I know the constitution of the movement, your appointment letter, and standing orders will be given to you. So let's standing order 30. Duties of MPs. A youth member of parliament shall, clause 1, attend parliamentary sittings and participate in parliamentary debate and discussion. Honorable members, we are fortunate that the YIP, that's our parliament, we sit once every month. But we all know that everyone has a busy schedule. Once every month is a very good time. So I believe everyone should come. Everyone will be able to make it. To clause 2, serve on parliamentary committees to study and scrutinize specific policy areas. Honorable members, as I said earlier, will be placed in committees to work and will be assigned tasks so that you do your findings, report to the house. So this, the clause 2, standing order 2 is talking about the parliamentary committee. So when you are being placed in those committees, please make sure you work. Make sure you contribute to the Hello, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So 3, assist in the realization of the aims and objectives of the parliament. This is self-explanatory. I don't want to go deep into it. You just assist in the realization of the aims and objectives of parliament. As Honorable Amanor said, the aim of what we are doing is to nurture responsible leaders in public speaking. So when you participate in debates and discussions in the house, you are one way or the other assisting in the realization of the aims and objectives. 4, build knowledge and understanding of parliamentary processes, procedures, and governance. I know some of us here, if I can mention, I know I can mention like 5 or 7 people that have the aim to represent their constituents in the Parliament of Ghana one day. So this is where it all starts. You have to build knowledge and you should understand how Parliament works, parliamentary processes, procedures, and governance. As Honorable Amanor said, he said, learn hard, easy battle. Yes, this is what it means. You should network with other youth MPs, parliamentarians, and stakeholders to share experiences and best practices. I went somewhere and someone said, your network is your net worth. I came home, I thought of it. For like 2 weeks, and I asked myself, so my contact list, let's take our contact list as an example. When you need help and you go through your contact list, let's say you need money. Or no, I don't want to use money. You need one opportunity or something like that. You need a favor. And you go through your contact list. Can you say for a fact, or can you hit your chest and say, oh, when I need this, I have so and so on my contact list that can help me do this and this. So when I need money, I know so and so people on my contact list can help me. When I need a recommendation, we have this and so people to help me with this and this. I remembered one time when I was in level 100 in Technical University, I needed money urgently, and I said, let me go to the contacts. I went, I scrolled from up to down, start again. I scrolled like 5 times. I was like, hey, so my contact is, I don't even have people that can help me. So what am I doing? That's where I started doing my networking. And I can say by fact, I have big men. When I want recommendation, I know who and who I can contact. When I'm in need of help, I know 1 or 2 people that can help and sort me out. So, honorable members, you should network. You don't know where we'll find ourselves one day. I remember I went to Access Bank. I was free with the manager and everybody there. And one MP came. There was a long queue. I saw one MP called me. He said I was the honorable member for the Sherman constituency then. He saw me, said, honorable member, please, this is a long queue and I'm for Kachi. Please, can you help me? Can you help me sort something out so that I can go and leave back to Akachi because I'm very tired. I look at the queue and I, you just sit down, let me go and speak to 1 or 2 people and come back. I went speak to 1 or 2 people too. Unfortunately, it was sorted out very, very early and he was able to go back to Akachi. So, honorable members, you should network. Youth and you have a lot to learn from each other. One person doesn't have the whole knowledge in the world. So you should network. This is a house of networking. Your network is your net worth. Another one, you should raise awareness about YIP's work and promote civic participation among youth. Honorable members, when the YIP contact drop flyers, please, the little we can do is just share it on various groups, share it on our status. Promote the movement. It's one of your duties as an MP. This is the easiest one you can do. It is the easiest one you can do. How many minutes does it take? How many seconds does it take to post something on your status? Just raise awareness. When you should follow all our social media platforms. So when informations are shared there, you should be able to like them. You should follow all YIP handles. And one key is you should fulfill all your financial obligations. Members, our fee or our financial obligation is not anything huge compared to other associations and youth parliament. It is just 100 cedis per year. 100 cedis for the entire year. How much? I want to ask everyone, how much data do you even buy for a whole month? No, in fact, a week. And 100 cedis, we should keep reminding you. This is one of your duty, and this, you didn't force anybody to come and join. It is by choice. It's not by compulsion. So if we have a join, why should we allow us to be remembering that you should fulfill your your financial obligations. This is not a profit-making organization or movement. It is not a profit-making, but the impact we are giving out is more. So with this, I would like to end here. Honorable members, if you have questions, please you can jot it down, and after the last speaker's address, you can ask your questions.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for your enlightening presentation. So, members, I hope now you know what is expected of you. So, let's take notice of it. After my presentation, we'll take all questions. So, I am Jones Amegashie-Viglo, the President of the Senate of YIP Ghana, and also Executive Director for Youth Impact Movement. So my presentation, I'm going to enlighten you on the standing orders of Parliament. And as my brother stated, the standing orders of Parliament is not so different from the standing orders of the Senate. We did this so because in the case that we have joint sittings, we don't want the standing orders to be confusing each other. Because if they are too different, it means we need to have a full standing order for our sittings. So in order to amend that situation, the clauses are the same in the two standing orders, the standing orders of the Senate and the Parliament. The only differences are the terminologies and then the structural differences. The major differences are the offices and the committees, but coming to provisions that are to guide the execution of an activity, they are all the same. So I'm going to start with the standing orders of Parliament. And then after handling that of Parliament, then I'll just go to the standing orders of the Senate and tackle only the structures where the differences are. And then we'll climax it with the Constitution of Youth Impact Movement. So that is how things are going to go. Just to remind you, the entire program is being recorded, so you can still watch again to know how things are going. I am going to show on the screen. Yes. Are you able to see my screen? I hope you can see my screen. Yeah, so let's start. Those of you who have the standing orders, you can pick it up and follow. But if you don't have, you can just watch your screen. Yes. So this is the standing orders of the Parliament. For the standing orders of the Senate, it has a red border. The standing orders of the Parliament has a yellow border. And the Constitution of the movement has a blue color. So those of you who have been in YIP for just this short time, you realize that we have color designations for our structures. If you have noticed that the Senate, the color that defines the Senate is red. The Parliament goes with gold. It's supposed to be gold, but yellow is being used with gold as well. The foundation uses green, and the movement uses blue. So these are the colors that we associate with them. So anytime you see the colors, you can quickly identify which structure we are talking about. So I want you to know of the color assignment that has been given. So the standing orders of our Parliament is actually 60 pages. And the one that we have here was adopted, I think, some 3 months ago, 2024, as amended. Just to take you through the history of this standing orders, going to the last page. It was first adopted on Saturday, 8th May 2021. Then it was passed on Saturday, 13th August 2022. And then it was amended on Sunday, 23rd June 2024. So that is the history of our standing orders. And all those things were done when I was Speaker of Parliament. That is why my signature is there to append it. So Youth Impact Parliament, although it's a small group, we do our things with principle and then law. Yes, we don't need to be law students to have these simple understandings of how things are supposed to go. So in the standing orders, there are interpretations of some terminologies. We have interpretations of certain terminologies. So if you want to understand what we mean by some terminologies, just go to the interpretations and you see what it means. For example, RTHON, it means right honorable. Someone will see it and will interpret it differently. Ranking member, some people are here, they don't know what ranking member means. Ranking member is a leader of a group on a committee of parliament. Yes, usually the ranking member, who, if the minority takes the chairman, then the leader, the majority in that committee is being given the ranking member. Yes, but if the chairman is coming from the majority, then the leader of the minority group in the committee is being given ranking member. That is how this role assignment works in parliament. Okay, so ranking member is not only for minority. So taking, for example, when you go to Parliament of Ghana, in the Public Accounts Committee, the committee is chaired by Honorable Dr. James Aveji, who is the Member of Parliament for, is it Ketu South? It's Ketunov, right? Yes, it's Ketunov. He was the Deputy Minority Leader and he was appointed as the Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. So the ranking member for that committee is not from the minority again because he is already in the minority. So a majority MP was given the role of ranking member and he is on the majority side of the house. So it is the same thing that we do over here. So the interpretations just defines what we mean by some terminologies we have used in our standing orders. You realize that the preamble here is not like that which is in the Constitution. Those of you who know constitutions, you realize that their preambles are something like we hereby adopt. So this is the Constitution of Youth Impact Foundation. That one, the preamble we have here is to say that we hereby adopt this Constitution as our guide. Yes, but the standing orders are complements to the Constitution. So we cannot have them standing on their own. The standing orders are to complement the Constitution for the structure that they are being assigned for. In the Constitution of Ghana and Parliament has standing orders. Whereas that the standing orders are subject to the Constitution. That is what our standing orders also says here. It says these orders are the standing orders of the Parliament's lower chamber of Youth Impact Parliament Ghana of Youth Impact Movement and shall so be called, except otherwise provided in these orders. The Constitution or in the Constitution of Youth Impact Movement, these orders shall not be restricted or shall not restrict the mode in which Parliament exercises its powers. It also says that where it does not provide for, then I'll just move you straight to the custodian of the standing orders. There's a custodian for the standing order, and that person is the speaker. The speaker is the custodian of the standing order, and wherever the standing order does not provide for, the speaker has all the rights and authority to provide supplementary provisions of procedure to complement where the standing order does not provide for. And that is what the preamble is trying to say. The preamble in extenso also says that it is subject to the Constitution of Youth Impact Movement. And that is clearly in when you come to the standing orders here. So you realize that Order 2, standing orders, it talks about the fact that it is subject to the Constitution of Ghana, the laws of Ghana, and the Constitution of the movement. So I think even from this, you are seeing how connected the standing orders are. So in drafting constitutions and standing orders, the clauses have to find that interconnectivity, and that is what our standing orders also has. Now, someone will ask, you are not seeing articles, Even look at the table of orders. You are not seeing anything article, you are seeing orders. Yes, standing orders don't have articles, they have orders. So a lot of orders come up to make this standing order, whilst constitutions are made up of articles. So this is how you refer to a particular clause. Let's just look at this one. So you realize that Order 6, paragraph 1 of the standing orders of Youth Impact Parliament Ghana. That is how we make references. That is how we make references to our standing orders and not articles. So take note of that. So right after the preamble, we have table of contents. The table of contents define how the standing orders have been drafted. So if you want to locate a particular clause, just look for it at the table of contents, and you look at the page number. And you also realize that the standing orders doesn't have chapters. It rather has parts. So we have like 16 parts. This standing orders has 16 parts and some few schedules. It's 15 parts. So we have 15 parts, 148 orders. And then, in fact, it doesn't even have schedules. It's appendix. It has appendices, constitutions that have schedules. So that is how different a standing order is from a constitution. So because I wouldn't take you through every single order, let me just brief you about the contents that I have using the table of contents. So in referring you to the table of contents, we have the preliminary pages, and then the first part is the parliament. Talks about the identity and matters referring to how the standing orders ought to be used, the composition of parliament, aims and objectives, order of precedence, tenure, and then the caucuses. Then part 2 is talking about the officers of parliament. So you have the founding fathers, speakers, leaders, whips, clerks, and marshals. Then there's a whole part on the office of the speaker. It talks about the speaker, the qualification, election, oath, absence, and resignation of speaker. Then part 4 talks about the members of parliament. So then who is defined as a member, their duties, qualifications, oath, leave of absence, absence without leave, resignation. The next part is parliamentary service. We have a parliamentary service that is made up of the clerks and marshals. So over here, we have the parliamentary service board also over here. Then the parliamentary services of qualifications of PSMs. The next part talks about revocation and contempt. Revocation and contempt, I think that particular one, I wouldn't talk about it so much because I made a presentation on it last 2 years, and I'll just share the video with you on that particular one. So it talks about issues of revocation and contempt of parliament, and they are all here. Then the next part talks about sittings, sessions, quorums, and adjournment. We define all of these things. It also talks about how we handle our maize, gabble, and robes, publicity, dressing, and lateness in attendance. All of them are in this part. Then the next part is talking about order of business as well, prayers. When we get to prayers, I'll emphasize on that. The next part is statement, ceremonial speeches. The next part is rules of debate. The rules of debate over here is just the same as the standing orders in the Senate. The order in the House as well. And I remember during the dissolution, I invoked Order 81, which is chair to be heard in silence. And that's also what I used on my brother, Amanor D. If you know the law, no one can bully you, except you don't know the law. So you need to know the law in order to use it to its full utilization. Voting in the House, motions, petitions, and parliamentary committees, a very important part that I will take time in speaking on. So when we get to the committees, I'll take time and I'll speak on all of them because you need to know. You need to know. Then after that, the miscellaneous membership of committees and then appendix. So these are the standing orders. I'll just highlight some certain orders. I'm not going to speak on everything detail. Now, I realize that the then minority leader, who is now majority leader of the parliament, was asking me, why are we going to print a new standing orders? And I was telling him that with the emergence of the Senate, there are some changes that have been made. And I'll highlight those changes for him, giving a reason why we needed to print new standing orders. So if he has his old copy, you realize that even in identity, there are some changes over here, because you realize that we have in paragraph 2, there shall exist 2 chambers of YIP Ghana, of which the lower chamber shall be called the Parliament, and the upper chamber shall be called the Senate. So from the first order, it recognizes that this is a bicameral legislature, and then there is an upper chamber, because you need to clearly put that identity of the House. So we needed to put that there in the amendment. Order 2, I already spoke about. Order 3, suspension. The standing orders, some orders can actually be suspended, and there's a procedure for this suspension. And then when you read through, you know. The Speaker chairs the Standing Orders Committee. In the Senate, although it is called Standing Orders, we call that committee the Rules Committee. So when we get to the Senate, we realize that it's the same committee, but the terminology has been changed a little bit. But some of our orders can be suspended. And at the end of the session of Parliament, any order suspended is automatically reinstated. So that is it. Amendment. This was the procedure we followed to amend our standing orders the last time. I spoke about interpretation. Composition. So our youth parliament, this parliament is composed of the speaker. The speaker is a full component of composition. And then members of parliament, and then parliamentary service members. So these are the 3 components that compose our parliament, just as stated by Order 7, paragraph 1. Okay, so anyone who is not part of this is being seen as an observer. But without prejudice to that, paragraph 3 says that the following shall be recognized as ex-official members of parliament. That is the founding fathers of YIP Parliament, the directors of YIP Foundation, and then the officers of the foundation as well, the directors of the movement, and the officers of foundation. Although those people are not part of the parliament, they are seen as ex-official to the parliament. Our aims and objectives, Order 8, so building capacity, upholding the standardized practices as a model legislature, building network and advocating for the youth. Is our aims and objectives. Very simple. The precedence of parliament is a very important thing, and Order 9 stipulates that. So with the precedence, the speaker is the topmost officer of the house, followed by the 2 deputy speakers, then the leaders of the house, deputy leaders, chief whips, first deputy whips, and second deputy whips. That is the precedence of the house as stipulated by Order 9. Then tenure. The tenure of every house is 1 year. That is what Order 10 talks about. Paragraph 1 says what? Parliamentary year shall be last for 12 months, starting from the day that the first sitting was held. Starting from the month of the first sitting of the first session. In YIP Parliament, our parliamentary calendar is August to August. That is why every August will dissolve the existing chamber and form a new chamber. Every August, we do that because that is when a parliamentary tenure starts. And the tenure of a speaker prevails for every parliamentary year. So, although I was speaker, every year I needed to be re-elected again to continue the next tenure until I fully handed over to my brother Adam Usman. Yeah, so the tenure of the speaker is also 1 parliamentary year, members 1 year, parliamentary service members to 1 year. Our order states that, yes. Caucuses, there are 2 caucuses, and the clerk shares caucuses. So, honourable members, we know some of you don't know your caucus now. We haven't fully settled on that. So that will be worked on and it will be communicated to you. So I already spoke about the officers, you know already. But the officers, you know, some of them are MPs and the ones who are not MPs, you know them already. So I already speak on that. The founding fathers, you know already. So the speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, you know him already. He presides over Parliament, represents Parliament in his official capacities, facilitates debates. He's the head of Parliament, supervises, ensures that the aims are achieved and provide guidance. And he can issue statements he deems worthy. He's assisted by 2 deputies, first and second. The deputy speakers act in his absence. The leaders are the leaders of their respective caucuses. They assist the speaker in conducting their sittings. They coordinate their caucus agendas, and they are assisted by 1 deputy. The whips. I think people are not really getting who the whips are. Your whips are very important people. They whip you in line of caucus agenda. Okay, the whips, that is how important they are. They whip you in line for your caucus agenda. So the whips, each of them have 2 deputies. And we always ensure that the second deputy whips are females so that we can have the female representation. So the leaders must work with the whips to ensure that it's the whips that should actually be calling you to come in for sittings and ensure that you are present to do your statements and all those. Those are their jobs. So I look forward to having very effective whips. Honorable Mark Bless and then McAfee here, please, these are your jobs. I think it has already been posted in your group, so you can look at it. The clerk is the secretary to the House, drafts the correspondence and then all. It's assisted by 3 deputies, 3 assistants. The deputies are operations, finance, and publicity. They have their duties here, and then the assistants also have their duties. The marshal is the more of the security personnel, and he has 4 deputies: physical security, information, emergency response, and VIP protection. Oh, I think I got us mixed up. Okay. Fantastic. So that is it for, yes, yeah. So that is it for the officers in Parliament. Now let's go to the speaker. You know already we went through this procedure. So we did an election, the provisions are here, and then the deputy speakers as well. All the provisions are here. The speaker can also resign, and when he wants to do so, you need to follow that procedure. Members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker just took you through your duties. It's just here. Qualifications 12 to 40, go through the process and then be approved. And you take your oath. Now, emphasize on Order 33 and Order 34. The leaders have hinted me to emphasize on that. Order 33, leave of absence of a youth MP. Every member shall attend the service of the House unless leave of absence has been given by the Speaker. Please, if you know you will not be able to attend the sitting, inform the Speaker for him to grant you leave of absence. Okay, please, that is why Mr. Speaker has been outdoor to you. We have told you to save his contact. If you are sending permission to me, I'm not a speaker. I cannot grant you permission. Right Honorable Speaker is there. If you know that 10 sitting, I think he wants to comment on that. Honorable that. Yeah, so you need to, if you will not attend a sitting, or you not be able to avail yourself for a duty being designated to you, you need to seek leave of absence from the Speaker. And the Speaker shall have the right to grant you leave when he sees that it is being justified. And Order 34 says a member shall not absent himself during the session for more than 3 consecutive sittings without permission from the Speaker. Any member infringing on this shall be referred to the Privileges Committee. The Privileges Committee is chaired by the second Deputy Speaker. So when the Speaker says that you haven't attended 3 sittings, you can refer it to the Privileges Committee. Now, as we told you, those of you who have not been able to come, we have online sittings. After every 2 physical sittings, we do 1 online sitting. And that is to give you the opportunity so that you can attend and not be liable for breaching Order 34. So please, seek permission from the Speaker. If MPs can also resign, and you resign by writing to the Speaker. We have a Parliamentary Service Board. Order 30 is chaired by the Speaker, and they do their things. They actually manage the House. So they are the ones who choose sitting and communicate with you. It's the Parliamentary Service Board that does. They choose the dates of the sitting and do those arrangements. It's the Parliamentary Service Board. The grounds for removal, please, We'll share it on the page. All these things are very important, and I'd like you to take account of them. So I'll skip those ones. 49. Some people are not really grabbing what to mean by sitting like that. Right, Honorable explained that during the pre-inaugural. He actually explained that when he was to parliamentary procedures. But let me just clarify again. In Youth Impact Parliament, we sit once every month. Mr. Speaker also said that. We are mandated by Order 49 to convene at least one regular sitting each month. We can hold as much as 6 sittings in a month, but not less than one regular sitting in a month. In a month of a session. What is a session? For Youth Impact Parliament, a session is a calendar year, August to August. So from August is the first session, and January to August is the second session, making it 2 sessions. So that is what the session, 2 sessions. The business committee is the one that determines be transacted on that day. Sittings as well. We can have guests. The speaker is to inaugurate a house, just as Right Honorable Adam Usman did. And the speaker is the one who dissolves a house, just as I did in dissolving the 3rd Parliament. So suspension of sittings, recall, we can suspend sittings, we can recall sittings, all of them are there. Closed sitting, when we want to do a sitting in camera. So those closed sittings are not recorded. You know, Youth Impact Parliament, we record all our sittings. We haven't held any closed sitting before. Should we hold a closed sitting? That will be the sitting that will not be recorded. But apart from that, all our sittings are recorded. We do that for transparency's sake. And it's an opportunity for you to also brand yourself. Okay, when you speak during sittings, go and catch that part of the recording and then share it so people to know how good you are. You see, people, until they see, they can't say, oh, YIP is creating an opportunity for you to gain exposure and prove to people how capable you are. They need a reference point to recommend you. And that is what YIP is giving you. Mr. Speaker said we design flyers for you. Amanor also said that. Those flyers, when we design it, share it for people to know. If people don't see that you are doing this, they don't have any points of reference to recommend you, to know that you're also good at this. So when you come to sittings and we record whatever you do, go and screen video that side or cut it, download the video and cut it, and also share on your social media. Someone is going to see that one day and know that this honorable is also good at this. I think he's good for this. In the future, person not far. Checking your social media. So when you are posting, you are not posting the ones that will help you. I leave it to you. A word to a wise is in the notes. So apart from closed sittings, we record sittings since 2021. Every single sitting that the Youth Impact Parliament has held, including the ones held in Uganda, have all been recorded, and they are all on Facebook, they are all on YouTube. You can go and check. Every single thing is there. It's a record that no youth parliament can ever beat. Yes, so we have mace, gavel, and robes as well. The robes are worn by our officers and it distincts them. Someone would think the robe is just too colorful, but you don't know the relevance. If you like, a day that we don't wear the robes, you realize that it looks like a family meeting. The robes helps. It brings the colors, and then the entire, it makes you have the feeling of a parliament. So the robes are relevant. Okay, our quorum is 1/3, but where there is no quorum, the speaker, the clerk, and majority minority can actually constitute a counter quorum. So the dressings, please, you need to dress neat. And please, the lateness there, we don't like that. Please, try and come early. When the sitting is starting at 1, come before 1 so that we can start on time, my people. Okay. Now, part 8, Order 62, Order of Business. So this part stipulates how our businesses are done. Prayers are always starting. And after prayer, if we are to swear anyone in, the person is being sworn in right after prayers. Then after that, we have communications from founder, then communication from speaker. Then we receive guest speeches and addresses, business committee report, votes and proceedings, question time statements, petitions, and we always have the motions being the last before adjournment, because when we start motions, it becomes so hot. So we do other things for motions. Any other business? Order 65, prayers. Someone was asking me, why is it that we are reading the prayers? Can't we do, this kind of pastoral prayer? I said, no. When it comes to Parliament, Order 65 states that Mr. Speaker shall read prayers at every sitting before the business is entered upon. No prayer shall be read prior or after dissolution or after adjournment of the House. So, per our standing order, we are mandated to read a particular prayer, and that's the prayer we read. It's just the same as what happens at Parliament of Ghana. It is not a joke. It's a very heavy prayer. Those of you who don't know the prayer, Amanor has been posting it on his status. It's a very heavy prayer. God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament. Grant that it will perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance. It's a very heavy prayer. In Parliament, we don't do closing prayer. That is what paragraph 2 is saying. We don't do closing prayer. After we adjourn, we go. So those parliaments that have been doing closing prayer, tell them that, that thing, it don't right. It is very, very wrong. Let them know. We don't do closing prayer in Parliament. After adjournment, we go. But it is always the speaker that prays. That is a universal practice in all parliaments. I've watched so many proceedings. So please, when you are seeing Mr. Speaker doing that, don't think Mr. Speaker is wrong. It is our standing order that prescribes all those things. Mr. Speaker can make statements. For the fact that Mr. Speaker is not a member doesn't mean he cannot make statements on matters of concern to the youth. Mr. Speaker can make statements. So when we are at a sitting and Right Honorable Adam Usman wants to make a statement, it is Order 67 that gives him that room to be able to make statements. And members can also make statements. Okay. Now, one of the additions that was relevant for the amendment due to our bicameral legislature is we needed Order 71 to make room for our joint sittings. Click on this because in September we'll be having our first joint sitting. So, Order 71 of both chambers. Paragraph 1. Both chambers of Youth Impact Parliament, Ghana, may hold joint sittings. 2. Joint sittings shall be convened to celebrate anniversaries and address matters of national importance, requiring the combined decision making of both the Senate and Parliament. 3. Joint sittings shall be convened upon the directive of the Speaker of Parliament and the President of Senate in consultation with both houses. So it means they don't really need to do a joint release, but both of them will release memos at the same time, conveying that they are coming to hold a joint sitting. So you'll be seeing that memo, realize that memo is two different memos, but it's the same talking about the same thing. And that is how I'm going to convey the September sitting. Is because we don't have bicameral legislature in Ghana. I'm aware that student parliaments have been doing joint sittings, but the ones that they do are quite different from what we are going to do. I'll tell you why. 4. Amendment specifying the date, time, business of the joint sitting circulated to members of both chambers well in advance. That's what I spoke about. During joint sittings, the President of the Senate and the Speaker of Parliament shall preside together, and in their absence shall their respective deputies preside. Now, I said our joint sittings are going to be different from that of other student parliaments. Why? Because other student parliaments, when they say joint sittings, you only see one person presiding. And I know they have learned that from the Commonwealth debate that they go and they witness. There are a lot of speakers sitting on the table, but only one person is being chosen as the main presiding officer. In Youth Impact Parliament, our joint sittings, we preside together. We preside together. So you are going to sit down in September 22nd. Adam and I are going to preside together. So as I was saying, I think I said that during the dissolution. I will start the prayer, you end the prayer. I can put the question and you give the ruling. You can put the question, I'll give the ruling. You can start a ruling, I'll end it. We can call a member to speak and then I'll call another member to speak. We are going to do it together because it's a joint sitting. No house will supposed to have an upper rule over the other. It's going to be very beautiful. Don't worry. When you start seeing things, please share the video. Let them know you are part of YIP Impact. It's going to be very nice. Yes. Adam, you did there? Okay. So the rules and procedures governing debates and discussions and voting shall align with the standing orders of both chambers. That is why the provisions are the same. Because when we have joint sittings, we don't need to have conflicting rules. And the quorum is the same. Senators shall occupy the front benches of the right side of the base, whilst YIP MPs shall occupy the front benches of the left side of the base. So that is it for joint sittings. Okay, that is it for joint sittings. So rules of debate, they are all here. I will share the presentation that I did on this so that I think Amanor actually spoke about it. These are things you need to read. So you have debate rules, which is order 73, and no debate rules. So we'll share that for you so that you know, so that during the debate of the joint sitting, you not mess up, so that Mr. Speaker will not ask you to leave the house. Content of speeches. We expect your speeches to actually not be offensive and abusive, and they are all here. So when you breach any of them, ignorance before the law is no excuse of the house. So when you breach any of these rules, any member can hold you to the law. Motion that the member no longer be heard, that motion can also be moved. Closure of debate as well. Order 81, that was the order I used during the dissolution. When Mr. Speaker rises or addresses the House, any member standing shall immediately resume his seat and Mr. Speaker be heard in silence. So I know Adam will also use that as well when you guys are trying to make a heckle, you know. Yes. Ruling of the chair not subject to appeal. Yes. A ruling made by the Speaker is not subject to appeal. You can call on Mr. Speaker on his kind gesture to review his ruling, but you cannot move a motion to subject his ruling to, you know, to be cancelled or whatsoever. So just take note of that. So suspension of members, removal, censure motions, all of them are there. Then voting in the House. So as you know, we have 3 voting models, okay? We have 3 voting models. We have the voting by voice. We have voting by voice. We have voting by head count. And then we have voting in secret. These are the 3 voting models. So provision has been made for it. The Speaker, as you know, does not have an original vote or a casting vote. What are the difference? Original vote is being had by members of Parliament. Every member of Parliament has an original vote. A casting vote are votes that are casted when there is a tie. Mr. Speaker has neither. So at where the votes casted are equal, the motion is lost. A deputy speaker does not have his original vote when presiding. And for our standing orders, when he is presiding, he doesn't have casting votes as well. That is what our standing order says. Yes, so take note of that. So you can either vote for or against, or you abstain. You can abstain from voting. Take note of that. We have division. Division is when you feel that the ayes that Mr. Speaker has declared is not so. You can call for a division or a head count. It's order 95 over there. Motions. So you know we have motions as well. You can amend a motion. We have main motions, subsidiary motions, privilege motions. incidental motions. And we have order of precedence for motions as well, and they are all here. So, Mr. Speaker, in order to know whether to grant you can look at the order of the precedence of motions as well. Interventional science, please, this all of you must know that we have 4 interventional science in Youth Impact Parliament. We have point of information, 1 fist, point of correction, 1 finger, point of correction, 2 fingers, 3, point of order, a fist, order of precedence, point. So you need to know how to use this. All very simple. To bring a new matter. Correction is to correct a fact laid on floor. Contribution is to contribute to the subject matter. And point of order is to put someone to order. We also have ways in which our bills and acts are supposed to be passed, and it's all over here. Now, the last thing that I will be talking about for the standing orders of this parliament is the committees of the House. Youth Impact Parliament actually has 34 committees. We have 16 standing committees and 19 select committees, making 34, 16, 19. Then we have Committee of the Whole. It's a committee chaired by the Speaker, and now all members are part. And Committee of the Whole, when Mr. Speaker is chairing Committee of the Whole, he doesn't wear his robe. So you remove his robe and then he will still be in his chair and then he chairs. That is Committee of the Whole. And then we have another committee called Committee on Selection. That is the committee we formed during the inauguration. It is chaired by the Speaker and it is responsible for forming other committees. What are the committees? Standing committees, the 16 standing committees. Appointment Committee, chaired by the First Deputy Speaker. They give their opinions on appointments, and they actually are supposed to vet members and then recommend them for seats. Business Committee is chaired by the Majority Leader, and some chairpersons are also part of it. They prescribe businesses and motions for a sitting. Education Committee, you understand, is chaired by any youth MP, and it's for education. It talks about education. Entertainment Committee for entertainment of the House is chaired by any youth MP. External Affairs Committee is for handling outside affairs. It's more like our foreign minister, something like that. More like that. That is what it means. But you see, the standing committees talk about in-house affairs. Most of the standing committees talk about in-house affairs. You know, we have Committee on Foreign Affairs. It's more of out-house affair. But the External Affairs Committee, they can actually recommend to us the guests of honor to come for sittings and all those things. Finance Committee, talking about finances, not really finances of the House though. It can be finances of Ghana as well, or anything. Because the committee that talks about finances of the House is special budget. Okay? But the Finance Committee also talks about out-house finances. They can talk about budget of Parliament of Ghana and all those things. Health also talking about saving. It talks about matters of research and organizing committee. That one is responsible for aiding us to organize our committee. So whoever will chair that committee needs to be coming to sittings early to prepare the place. Petitions Committee, when the House receives a petition, the Speaker can refer it to the Petitions Committee. It's chaired by a youth MP. Privileges Committee, chaired by the Second Deputy Speaker. So members that breach Order 34 can be referred to the Privileges Committee for questioning and whether or not they should be booted out of the House. Publicity Committee, so they are supposed to aid us publicize. Although we have an administrator of our platforms, they work with the Publicity Committee to ensure that we get you people and other people to like our contents. Mr. Speaker has appealed to you, like our contents. Sports and Games Committee. Sports and Games Committee. So Sports and Games Internal House Affair. They deal with that, chaired by Youth MP. Special Budget, I already told, in-house finance, chaired by Youth MP. Standing Orders Committee. that is chaired by the speaker. They handle the standing orders. So anything talking about this standing order, it goes to the standing orders committee. Welfare committee in-house, they speak about welfare of members and it's chaired by youth MP. All these committees have what? For the records, all the standing committees and select committees actually have ranking members, chairpersons, vice chairpersons, and deputy ranking members. All the committees have, and all the committees have secretaries. The secretaries are either the clerk, a deputy clerk, or assistant clerk. So know that. Now, I want to take you through the select committees of the House. We have 18 in number. So you realize that, just look at it, you realize that for the standing committees, the committee is, the name is ending with committee. But the select committee, the name is starting with committees. That is how you know whether it's a standing or a select committee. So if you listen to the name of the committee, you can tell whether it's a standing committee or select committee. Let's look at the standing committees. So we have Committee on Chieftaincy and Religion. So you understand, it talks about chieftaincy and religion. You can ask them to look into a chieftaincy matter or religious matter and report back to the House. It's chaired by youth MP. Committee on Cost of Living. They investigate cost of living. They can come and talk about inflation matters and how things are very difficult for us right now and why members are not able to pay the dues because things hard. It is this committee that will talk about it. Committee on Defense and Security. Yes, Defense and Security, that's all. Committee on Democratic Governance. They talk about democratic governance. Committee on Election Monitoring. This committee talks about election and we need them to observe the 2024 elections and report to us. Labor. Yes, so they talk about employment and labor. Committee on Energy and Petroleum. They talk about energy and petroleum, how fuel prices are rising and the quality that is refused. Committee on Environmental Protection. They talk about matters. Is this committee that? Committee on Food and Agriculture, agri issues and food issues. They do that for us. Committee on Foreign Affairs matters, we can refer them to this. I was telling you, External Affairs is talking about in-house. But first, they can talk about countries, matters happening in Russia, Ukraine, all those things. It's this committee that will talk about it, not External Affairs. Committee on Gender and Children, yes, talking about gender and children. Committee on Human Rights, talking about human rights abuse and all those things. Committee on Judicial Affairs, so they talk about the judiciary system, how things are working, our court systems working well. Committee on Legislative Affairs, it's not an in-house committee, okay? They talk about Parliament as a structure. Parliament, they can hold Parliament of Ghana and tell us if Parliament of Ghana is delivering and all those things. They look at these legislative affairs. Committee on Local Government. So they talk about local government structures. You know, we have local government. So that committee, we usually give it to our MPs who are assemblymen or have held that position of assemblymen before. They understand the local government system better than us. Committee on Student Relations. We enjoy giving this committee to people who have held positions like SRC president and all those, because we are talking about this student governance. Committee on Technology. So it's our committee talking about technological advancement. They can come and tell us about AI and all those things. Committee on Trade and Industry. So this committee basically talks about trade and industry, all those things. So as I told you, when the name is ending with committee, it's a standing committee. When the name is starting with committee, it's a select committee. So all committees have chairpersons, ranking members, vice chairs, and deputy ranking members. And I'll talk about your responsibility in those particular circumstances. Is the next part. So, yes, in the committee, this standing order applies to you fully. So, committee wants to start a meeting, they can actually pray the and they can use the standing full effection when they're having committee meetings. So, chairperson of a committee decides about meetings and ensure that meeting is conducted. He sets agenda for the meetings. He facilitates discussions and ensures that members contribute and makes decisions in terms of a tie. So the constitution has a casting vote. Yes. And he can represent the committee in interactions for other staffs. The vice chairperson, basically, he assists the chairperson and acts as chairman in the absence of the chair and provides support in organization. Ranking member, he leads the other caucus of the parliament in that committee, and he as well can ensure that the chairman does those kind of things. The deputy ranking member is his deputy. The secretary is either the clerk or deputy clerk or assistant, any of them designated to do that, because we have 3 deputy clerks and 3 assistant clerks in the clerk. The clerk himself is secretary to Parliamentary Service Board, Committee of the Whole, Committee on Selection, Standing Orders Committee, and then the Committee on Legislative Affairs. The clerk is secretary to all these 5 committees and board. Of them are selected as secretaries to not 5 committees. The assistant clerks, each of them are selected 6 select committees. So that's how we share the clerk department. The marshal is part of the Parliamentary Service Board. The deputy marshals are part of the organizing committee. So that is it. Now, looking at our system of bicameralism, we can have joint committees. So, for instance, even this joint sitting coming, we have formed the Joint Business Committee. And when the committees of both chambers, this is the order guiding it. Joint committees. So, joint committees may be established and they shall be constituted by resolution, and members from both the Senate and Parliament shall serve on it, but it is co-chaired. So, assuming it is joint committee on business, or the joint business committee, the chairman for the Senate Business Committee will co-chair with the chairman of the Parliament Business Committee. They co-chair that committee, and their secretaries will also do co-secretarial staffs as well. That's it. So right after their job is done, they stand dissolved. Yes. Now, in Parliament, we have clusters. All chairpersons, all vice chairpersons, all ranking members join the cluster, and all deputy ranking members join the cluster. The speaker is the head of all clusters. So the cluster heads head each of the cluster, and they are supposed to ensure that you are doing your job. If you are holding chairperson job, we have a WhatsApp group for them, so they moderate discussions on that group. And then the cluster heads are they are ex-official members to the leadership of Parliament. Yes, so honorarium. So we actually give you certificates at the end, already. At the end of your tenure, we give you a certificate. The leaders are given, their names are put in book of honors. So that is it for the standing orders of Parliament. This is the prayer that the speaker will read. It's graciously printed over here. So when you are committee chair, you have to read the same prayer as well. Their oaths are here, and then that is it for the standing orders of Parliament. Let me briefly run you through the standing orders of the Senate. I'm not going to talk about duplications, the things that are already duplicated. I'm just going to talk about where the differences are. So, for the Senate is led by a president, not a speaker. So that is the first difference. The Senate is led by a president. So the president of the Senate presides over the Senate. But in the Senate, he only has 1 deputy. In the Parliament, he has 2 deputy speakers. But in the Senate, he only has 1 deputy. Actually, for the Senate, everyone has 1 deputy. No one has 2 deputies. In the Parliament, the marshal has 4 deputies. The clerk even has 3 deputies, 3 assistants. In the Senate, the clerk only has 1 deputy, 1 assistant. The whips in the Parliament, they have 2 deputies, but over here they have 1 deputy. So in the Senate, you have president of the Senate, deputy president of the Senate. The duty of the President of the Senate is the same as Speaker of Parliament, but in the Senate. The duty of the Deputy President is the same as the 2 Deputy Speakers, but in the Senate. The majority and the minority is just the same as Parliament, but in the Senate. And but in the Senate. That is for you to note. Yes. So that is the major difference for you to note. And it's the same. The process, you realize that now, since it is the same deputy, all the duties are given to 1 deputy. The role that is being performed by 3 deputies in the parliament is done by 1 person, because the Senate is actually small in number. Okay? So there are 3 in parliament. The assistant clerks are 3 in parliament, but over here is just 1. So all the duties of the 3 are done by for the marshal and deputy marshal. So I already told you the duty of the president is the same as the speaker. Now let me go to senators. Youth Impact Parliament, currently our parliament has 220 seats, but in our Senate there are just 48 seats. Every region there are 6, and each region gives us 3 seats. We call them senatorial seats. So from each region we have 3 senators emerging from there, making just 48. So the Senate is actually smaller than the parliament. And I already told you the Senate, the color that they use is red. So during the joint sitting, you realize that the robe of the Senate officers are going to be basically red. You will not see any gold in it. Maybe if you see a gold, it is because of one particular template is trying to align to. But you know, the parliament, their robes are black and gold and then red. When it comes to the Senate, their robes are white, red, and then gold also fixed in it. So the duties of the senators are the same as parliament, but in the Senate. That's just all. Now with this, I've cleared everything on that. So they also have the chair to be heard in silence, also talking about the president of the Senate. It's just the same thing, but in the Senate. I want to talk about the committees of the Senate. That is another distinct feature. The committees of the Senate. Now, I already told you that the Senate is smaller in number. Yes, so due to that, the Senate does not have 34 committees. No, unfortunately, the Senate does not have 34 committees. The Senate has 16 committees because the Senate is smaller in number as compared to the Parliament. They have 8 standing committees, 8 select committees, and also the Committee of the Whole and Committee of Selection. They also have, the Parliament has the Parliamentary Service Board. In the Senate, it's called Senatorial Service Board. It is chaired by the President of the Senate. So the President of the Senate chairs the Committee of the Whole, the Committee of Selection as well. The Committee of Selection as well. So when it comes to the committees, let me just take you through the committees of the Senate, just as I take you through the committees of Parliament. So we have the Appointment Committee, and it is chaired by the Deputy President of the Senate. It does the same thing the Appointment Committee in the Parliament does. The Business Committee is chaired by the Majority Leader of the Senate. We have the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee in the Parliament is called the Privileges Committee. In the Parliament, that Privileges Committee is chaired by the Second Deputy Speaker, but here it's just chaired by any other senator. So the Ethics Committee members that will be the same order 34 over here. Over here, the Senate sits once every quarter, and there are 4 quarters in a year. So it means the Senate sits not less than 4 times in a year, but the Parliament sits once every month, with at least after every 2 physical sittings, 1 online sitting. So the month that the Senate will hold, the month that the Parliament will hold an online sitting, that is when the Senate is going to hold their physical sitting. Yes, unless it is a joint sitting, that is when the Parliament is physically. But when the Senate will sit in a particular month, that is when the Parliament will hold their online sitting. So the Parliament continues to sit once every month, but the Senate will only sit once in 3 months. Yeah, so due to that, our Order 34 makes it when you miss 2 sittings in a session. Now, the Senate calendar is January to January. January to January. So we have 2 sessions as well. And the Senate, you know, the Parliament, your parliamentary year or your tenure is 1 year. But the Senate, their tenure is 2 years. Their tenure is 2 years. So from January 2025 to January 2027, the first Senate will exist. So the entire 2025 year is going to be the first session of the Senate, and they hold 4 sittings. And 2026 year is going to be the second session of the Senate. Their tenure is 2 years. So due to that, if you miss in the Senate, you'll be referred to the Ethics Committee of the Senate, chaired by a senator. We have our Intelligence Committee, chaired by the Minority Leader, just as it is chaired by the Minority Leader of the Parliament in the Parliament. Organizing Committee to help us organize committee Senate sittings, and is chaired by any senator. Publicity Committee, same, chaired by any senator. The Rules Committee is called the Standing Orders Committee in the Parliament. So this one is chaired by the President of the Senate, and they also manage the standing orders. As I told you, there's the terminology. So over here it's called Rules Committee, but in the Senate it's called, in the Parliament it's called Standing Orders Committee. So they have Welfare Committee as well, chaired by any senator. Then we have 8 select committees. Committee on Entertainment, chaired by a senator for entertainment staffs in the Parliament. Committee on Finance for financial staffs. And they also, for this committee on finance, they handle in-house finances and out-house finances as well. So the standing orders, the Special Budgets Committee of the Parliament has been fused into Committee on Finance over here. So over here, both of them do one job. Committee on Gender is the same Committee on Gender and Children in the Parliament. Committee on Governance is the same Democratic Governance is the same Health and Safety in the Parliament. Committee on Literacy, that is the same Education Committee in the Parliament. Committee on Security is the same Defense and Security in the Parliament. Committee on Sports is the same committee, is the same Sports and Games Committee in the Parliament. So that is it for the standing orders of the Senate. And then this is the prayer being prayed by the President of the Senate. All other provisions are the same as the standards of Parliament. Now, for me to climax this presentation, let me just briefly, please, after I finish with the Constitution of the Senate, we'll take your questions. So please, if you have any question, prepare to ask them, and then we'll sort you out. So, Constitution of the movement. The movement has a constitution. This is the mother body. Amanor already stated that, and we have interpretations as well. And then this is the preamble. The table of contents are also here. One identity of the constitution is not established. Patron foundation. And then we have introduction to the movement is also over here. Then we have state of the problem is founding fathers. Patrons are here. The movement is led by an executive director. His function is a little bit similar to that of the speaker. Yes, but more of an executive role. This one is not a legislative role, it's an executive role. So he's synonymous to like an SRC president sort of a thing. Yeah, that is the role of the executive director. He has 2 deputies, humanitarian affairs who handles the foundation, and parliamentary affairs who handles the parliament. We have an administrative secretary who is like the clerk to parliament, but he's the secretary to the entire movement. Finance director who handles our finances is like the treasurer. The directors, apart from so they actually serve, they are supposed to serve a tenure of 2 years though. Yeah, that's how it is, but they get renewal. So they form an executive board, and the executive board, in addition to the 5 directors, you have the chairman of the gathering of YIF chief officers, and then the chairperson of the conference of YIP speakers and presiding officers. So the executive board here is synonymous to the parliamentary service board. They do their things, and your duties as members are all stipulated here. Finances are there, code of members, removal, suspension are here. Other officers are also here. We also have ambassadors, but we are yet to launch this particular rule. Article 39, ambassadors of the movement. It's a new initiative. We have made provision for about so if you are interested in that, you can hint me and then we'll talk about it. So Youth Impact Foundation is being captured in chapter 8 of our constitution, and the foundation, their officers, they have chief officer, administrative officer, financial officer, communications officer, and operations officer. So Youth Impact Foundation as well can also be in other countries, but as of now, we only have one chapter, which is the Ghana chapter. So we only have one chapter, but later on we'll establish more. Their provisions are here. And their gathering is where there are more than 2 chapters. They all form this gathering. Then the parliament, Youth Impact Parliament is basically and shortly captured here. Because of the standing orders, we speak very less of Youth Impact Parliament here. We just talk about the leadership and the presiding officer and the standing orders and the head of YIP chapters. We also talk about YIP Campus Club. It is actually in the constitution. YIP Fathers, Founding Father Caucus is also here, and the Conference of YIP Speakers also in the Constitution. So that brings us to the end. The last thing to talk about is the organogram. Please, I hope you are looking at the organogram. This is the organogram of Youth Impact Movement. So you can see the movement is at the top, and then under it we have the executive board. Supposed to be EB, not ED. So that correction we made, supposed to be EB, executive board and directors on one side and patrons on the other side. If it has patrons, okay, and then the foundation, under the foundation, you have execom and officers. And then under the parliament, you have Senate and its structures, parliament and its structures, and the YIP clubs. This is the structure of Youth Impact Foundation, and I want to thank you all for this long presentation. It has not been easy. And on this note, I bring my presentation to an end. You are now free to ask your questions. Thank you very much. So, please, the floor is open. You can ask your questions now. The floor is open. You can ask your questions now. Yes. Please, if you have a question, please. Constitution and standing orders. Same with our senators. Senators as well will print and make it available to you at the joint session. So, yes, can we have a question? Yes, please ask your question. Yes, Nathan, ask your question. Yes, Nathan, please speak. Hello. Nathan, you can ask your question, please.
Yeah. Okay. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I hope you can hear me.
we can.
I wanted to ask. I wasn't present physically inaugural sitting. I wanted a soft copy of the standing orders. Hello.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We'll work on that and we'll share a soft copy of the standing orders in the Constitution after we have finalized the grammatical corrections. Just as today we have seen a correction, so we'll do that grammatical correction. Godfred, let's hear from you. Yes, let's hear from you. I think Nathan is having his network. Yes, Godfred, let's ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President and Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I'm a youth Tamale, Bunkpuru constituency. I'm going for Kulama. Please, can you hear? Yeah, my question is, the difference in the standing, the committee, the functionalities, standing committee and the select committee, they are different based on their functionalities.
Yeah, they are different.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Acting based on their function, the difference between the standing committee and the select committee based on their functionalities.
Yes, I'm confirming that yes, indeed. Every committee, the basic difference between standing and select committee is number one, the name. You realize that standing committees, they end with select committee, they start with committee in their name. Apart from that, most of the standing committees have in-house functionality. In-house, I mean, with to do with youth in parliament. But most of the select house functionality, talking about research about things happening out of the house to report to us. Yes, so that is their, but each of them are distinct from each other.
Okay. And I have a second question.
Yeah, ask.
Yeah, the second question is what leave of absence of a UTP? I want to know the right to request or ask from the speaker.
Okay, so for you, I was amazed that you came for because you came from the north.
Yes, I did.
What we try to do is that people like you who have died so much, the spirit protects you. All you just do is write a letter to the
Okay.
speaker and to tell him that you will not be present due to how far you are coming from, and then
Okay.
ensure that you attend the online sittings. You have
Okay.
actually done so well to come from the north, and it is commendable. So
Okay.
even you, so attend the online sittings, that's okay. You coming
Alright.
for one physical sitting is very okay. So just seek permission for the physical that you can come for, and then the
Okay.
online sittings, join them and you are good to go.
Alright.
So
Thank
save the speaker's number and chat him and be
Okay.
in contact with him so that he knows that you wouldn't be able to attend the physical sittings.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. You have done so
Thank you.
well. Congrats on
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Yes, not some copies will be provided. We are just doing proofreading to ensure that we will not have any grammatical error again. So right after all those ones are done, the soft copies to be shared.
Okay, please. I also wanted to.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, it's been answered.
Okay, great.
It's been answered.
Yeah, great. No problem. Yes, honourable members, any other- in the absence of any questions, may I call on the Honourable Speaker of Parliament to give his remarks, and then we'll close today's meeting.
Honorable members, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
It's been a wonderful session. I want to use this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for a successful session. I want to entreat all youth MPs that you should use whatever you have read today. You should put the practical one into. Today, Honorable Amanor has spoke about the structures of YIM, that's the intent. He also spoke about the work of the Senate and Parliament. I came in as and ethics. His Excellency Jones spoke about the standing of the Senate and the Parliament, and also took us through the constitution of the youth impact movement. He spoke about the constitution of the Parliament and also the Senate. It's been an informative session, and I want to thank all of you joining once again. Those who could join will make a recorded session available so that they can also refer to later. I want to thank all of you once again. So, Abu Jones, please know what I have to say.
Thank you very much, my brother, the Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable members, I also want to thank you all, my senators, I just want to say that at the joint sitting during the debate, the senators will win the MPs. They should better prepare because my people are ready for you. Thank you very much. Honorable McAfee, can you give us a closing prayer? McAfee? Okay. If she's not active, then okay, so let's take the closing prayer. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this house. As we have gone through this occasion, we pray that you enlighten us to understand to be more efficient and effective in our discourse to ensure youth development. Amen. Thank you very much and do have a nice day.